Alright guys, it's time to twin turbo juke. So Chad is away for the week and I have his Juke here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're going to fit the twin turbo system in there so I can start on the intake and intercooler piping on the car. Then I'll pull everything back out, do all the finish welds on absolutely everything because I know it's all gonna fit once it's in there. So the first step of this is going to be to remove everything that we're not gonna need. So that is your turbocharger, your downpipe, your intake, which we're gonna modify, intercooler piping on the turbo side, boost control system needs to get removed, and the solenoid needs to be bolted in somewhere that's safe so it stays plugged in. And the diverter valve has to go because we're replacing it with a blow-off valve just for the sake of the plumbing that we're going to have to be doing. Alright, so I got the OEM turbocharger out. So the next step is getting ready for intake piping. Now I already have an idea of what I need to do in here to modify. So it's going to involve a hammer and some cutting. I'm also going to show you guys a quick little trick on how to make your engine bay a little cleaner by relocating that piece of harness right there. So to relocate this harness, what you're going to do is you're going to take off this upper motor mount. And then there's a clip up here that holds this on. You want to pop that off. And then there's a clip over here. You want to pop that one off. And then you're just going to swing it down underneath like that. Put your motor mount back in. Then this piece right here, you tuck down behind your firewall, your heat shield. You throw a zip tie around the AC line and that holds that out of the way and stops them rubbing on anything. It gets rid of that wiring mess up there. And now for the part everybody's gonna love. So flame me if you want. We gotta be in right here, probably about 1 inch or 2 to give room to make an intake elbow that goes around. So I'm literally gonna just take a hammer and bend that in. It's just sheet metal. It's not gonna structurally damage the car, so calm yourselves. Then we're gonna bend this brake line down out of the way a little bit. And then I'm going to trim some of this off to give me some room to play with. I might end up having to trim more, but for now we're just going to bang that in. Just look at the sheer size of this thing. This is a terrible idea. This will be interesting. Twin turboing a Juke. Because I'm a huge moron. Twin turboing a Juke. Because why would I do something easy? That's why I'm twin turboing a Juke. Look at the size of the turbskis. Twin turboing a Juke. Because I don't have all my brain cellies. Not even sure if this is gonna fit yet. Haven't tested it with the new downpipe. Might have to make a third iteration of that, and we'll find out in a minute. Let's attempt to put this thing in. Okay. Make sure I pick this thing up because it's so fucking. Oh, that's not good. Oh, don't tell me this isn't gonna fit in here with the downpipe on. Oh man, that sucks. Oh, this downpipe's gonna be a nightmare to put in. Oh boy, now I got it stuck. I can't get it out. Alright, who's up for round 2? Ah, it's still extremely heavy. Round 2 is still just as heavy, even though it's missing a big pipe. It's still heavy. It's like the turbos are heavy or something. So the lesson here, folks, is next time somebody suggests twin turboing a Juke, even if it's yourself suggesting it, tell that person to go after themselves. Because this is a pain in the butt. What do you want now? fit on the test engine fine. Why are you being a little bitch? It's almost like the car wasn't designed for 2 turbos. Chad the Fisherman, if you see this later, why did you agree to torture me in such a method? How messed up is this? My friend, you're supposed to tell me to stay away from situations like these. Instead, you openly invited this chaos into my life. I realize right now I'm basically talking to myself. But it's to stop me from going crazy. Because otherwise, I'm gonna lose my mind. Because this is a pain in the butt. It went on the test engine. It's the same engine. Now it won't go on this engine. Why? Well, that's the question I'm trying to figure out. It's clearing everything, it's just not going on. The assumption that I can even install it, because I might have to make it into a piece to get this in. Just because of this simple complexity of the whole project. Okay, so here's the deal. This is the second time I've made this downpipe, and it's still not fitting. I have the curve coming out a little bit too far, and it looks like it's just touching the transfer case. So I can't get the third bolt in over here because it's just cocked a little bit to one side. So I'm going to fix that problem tomorrow because I've been at this for a very long time. But the good news is it's in, basically, and now I can start fitting aluminum parts. So I'm just going to throw a couple of the aluminum pieces on so I can get an idea in my head what I need to do, and then I'm going to be calling it a night. Alright, so now that I have everything in the car, I can go over the problems with my original plan. So I'm going to be... I already have this one trimmed and ready to go. This looks like it's sitting up really high, but it's actually not that high. It has plenty of clearance on the hood. I already checked that. This one I got to cut the flange on there, rotate it so I can weld it somewhat like this, or even just make my own 90-degree come off of it, because the plan is to have it go into this OEM coupler here, which I can use the cutoff end of this to go in there and then weld the two on there like a Y. Now the issue that I'm having is my plan was to run the intake pipe for this side up behind everything and then come out and tap in right here to this intake on this side. Now the issue that I have with that is I forgot about the wiper motor. So this is going to be in the way. I'm going to have to make a bracket for it to hold it up, but that's a whole other thing. This is going to be in the way of running a pipe in there. So now what I'm going to actually have to do is make it so that the intake comes in between the turbos like this. Obviously it's not going to look like that because I have to cut things and make pipe. And have it run kind of, it's going to be pretty much like this, said and done. And it's going to connect in over here on the other side of the brake master cylinder. So it will have to come up and around and tap in there to the intake. The other problem that I have to figure out is this vacuum, the brake booster vacuum port faces straight up and it's obviously in the way. So I'm going to try to bend that down until it starts to kink and then stop, and then I'll just have to put a dimple into the pipe over there, which I know isn't the greatest for airflow, but with these small turbos, and this thing's not going to be making a lot of horsepower because we have the CVT to contend with, I don't have to really worry about that dimple affecting anything. Kind of like over here, this intake pipe over here is going to be very tiny. It's got to squeeze in here, which is about 1.5 inches. So I got to trim this so that I can bring that up and increase its size pretty quickly. It's a little bit of a restriction, but again, it's not going to really affect the way that the actual turbo operates, because it's not that much of a restriction because the turbo is so small. So I definitely have a lot of fabrication work to do and a lot of problem solving to figure out. So I'm still playing around with some ideas for that. Again, we're going kooky on this. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to work, so we might as well make it look a little cool. So that is all we've got for today, folks. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you go check out the new website we have up, thefastreligion.com. You can get all kinds of merch, decals, and you can also read more about the builds we're doing. Meantime, why don't you check out these other cool videos that we have going on, and make sure you hit that subscribe button.